call the meeting to order. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any? I think we have everyone here.
Let's do a quick roll call.
Okay, we'll do a quick roll call to make sure we can hear everyone and all that fun stuff. So Jay, go ahead.
Okay, so please say here. Wendy.
Here.
Kristen.
Here.
David G.
Here.
Annie.
Here.
Tyler.
Here.
Christine.
Here.
Leslie.
Here.
Patricia.
Here.
Yeah. Rebecca.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Brian.
Here.
David Twitchell.
Here.
Tom.
Present.
And it looks like our student reps Claire and Ben are not here today, but that does mean that we can take votes by a show of hands. But please be gentle with me because Dawn is not here, so I may need to ask you guys to keep your hands up because I'm the one taking notes officially. So.
All right. I think I see student representatives from the high school and middle school. So why don't we go ahead with the middle school student reps first? Or student rep.
Hi. So I'm going to talk about the Royal Field Trip and the basketball season for middle school. So we'll start with basketball. Basketball at the middle school has just ended. The season wrapped up last Friday as the girls team had their last game on Friday. The girls basketball team finished the regular season with 8 wins and 2 losses, and the boys were undefeated. Both teams won their first 2 playoff games, getting them a spot into the championship. The boys played their championship at the high school and had an amazing crowd. I actually went to the game and the energy was electric. The boys won an overtime game by 2 points. The girls team, however, lost to Gardner in the championship by a little over 10 points. Overall, both teams had very successful seasons and both worked very hard. So that's basketball. Now for the field trip. A couple weeks ago, the Royal team at the middle school went to the State House and to the Holocaust and Human Rights Center. First, the Royal students went to the Holocaust and Human Rights Center and entered the building and went into the lecture hall. As everyone took their seats, a worker at the museum started talking to the students about how the Holocaust came about and why everything happened. After the students learned about the Holocaust, they went to the State House for a tour. At the State House, the kids were greeted by a Maine State Senator, Craig Hickman, for a photo. After this, the Royal students took a tour of the State House and were introduced to many new things and ideas they learned from. The experience was very engaging and fun to be a part of.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily. Yes. The basketball season was a lot of fun to watch, and it was awesome because we also had parents like Leslie who would show the games online. So, and there's a couple other moms, but I can't remember them all. But I would watch a lot of them online in between meetings and stuff when we couldn't be there. And we had a lot of fun cheering you guys on, and it was fun seeing the community there. So it was pretty cool. Pretty fun season. Next up, we have some representatives from the high school. Sorry, I don't have your names in front of me, and I know one of your names, but I'm drawing a blank. So introduce yourselves, please.
So I'm Molly Woodford, and I am the head of outreach in our Senate.
I'm Greta Barnes-Bucher, and I'm the sophomore class rep.
So outreach has finalized carnation sales this week, or last week. We ordered them, and so we were planning on delivering those on Valentine's Day. We sold a little over 200, which is better than last year. They don't make any money off it because it's just like spread love and get the community together. So we'll be handing those out on Valentine's Day. And
this is from the Spirit Committee. What Spirit Committee has been working on mostly is planning and finalizing the winter carnival schedule. We have also made quite an effort to voice that people need to buy t-shirts as well. And the last thing is that we've decided to bring back the color dance. So we've been working on preparing decorations and more for that event. They do have some points of concern, which are they're worried about participation in Winter Carnival due to lack of transportation, because majority of kids ride buses, and the buses will have to leave before all the activities start. They were wondering if there's any way that in the future they could have assigned late buses for students who take the bus after school but still want to stay for Winter Carnival.
Wellness this week has finalized the Black Bear cards, which are handed out to people that have honor grades at the end of the semester. The Bear Cave t-shirts have been passed out to everyone, and they came out great. and they're making their wellness board that's Valentine's Day themed, and it's what fills your bucket with love for the upcoming holiday.
For boys, their previous neon night, which is a school dance, was canceled due to weather. They've rescheduled for February 8th and still plan on giving all proceeds to Mr. Toby's family to help support them during this time. They're in the early stages of setting up a Student of the Month program as well.
And then technology is just working on winter carnival support. They're going to be helping out with the teams and just getting the Google Forms out and organizing all that stuff, and they do a really good job at that. So there are a lot of backbone support.
Cool. A lot of awesome stuff going on. So question for you, the Winter Carnival, are you talking, like, are there activities? I'm not familiar with winter, 100%.
Yeah, so Winter Carnival is normally, for the past couple of years, they do it during the school day, but make shorter classes. But I think there's been some concern about shortened class time this year, so all the activities are planned for after school. So I think they're just worried about like freshmen and people who can't drive themselves yet not being able to participate due to them taking the bus.
Okay, no, that's helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job, everybody. Thank you for the good reports. All right, next up is citizens' comments. None on the paper. Diane, do we have anyone online for citizens' comments? Nope. All right. Excuse me, sorry. Additions, adjustments to the agenda by the board or superintendent?
I have an addition to discuss the creation of a policy to govern the formation of student clubs. We currently do not have one.
That would be H. Is there anything else?
I don't have anything.
Okay, formation of a policy for student clubs. Okay. All right, we can add that. I'm fine with that. She did call me before. It's not like I'm blindsided, and I think she did mention it to Jay as well.
Yep.
So I know, try not to do that, but it was asked. So I just want to let everyone know that was the process. So moving right along, reports, any celebrations?
Yes, I'd like to invite the administrative team up. They are going to do a group celebration tonight, so.
So last year, Mount Vernon worked with the high school to send fourth grade classrooms over to the high school to explore classes and work with high schoolers to see what the high school has to offer for them. We went 3 times, I think 4 times. We did English class, foreign language, gym class, and band and chorus. So they spend 1 class period with the high schoolers and explore what that class is all about. They also get to eat breakfast at the high school, which is a big deal. So it was very successful. So we, Michelle LaForge was gracious enough to open it up to all of the elementary schools in the district. Reedfield is a little bit different because the high school goes over there and does things with them during their recess period. But Manchester and Wayne will also be doing 3 visits to the high school over a 3-month period. Mount Vernon went today for the first time and did a gym class. And
That's awesome. I know the kids like it. I've heard kids talk about it in the past, so that's awesome.
yeah, 3rd grade is just happy to be a big kid and in big kid wing. 5th grade, they're the big kids already. 4th grade kind of gets lost in that mix, so it's good to give them something to look forward to.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's happening. Cool.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, Leslie?
When you said Reedfield's a little different because the class comes to Reedfield for a gym class, are you saying then that they're not gonna send folks up here in order to participate in the same way?
We had worked it out at the beginning of the year that they would be coming down to see us like they did last year for the recess. We have not gone up to the high school, just it's scheduling, it can be a little tricky at times. So, but the kids are coming down, they're coming down once a week. They're working with our second and third grade and fourth and fifth grade recesses and being great role models. It makes a huge difference. The kids can't wait to see them.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Alrighty, is there anything else in any of the reports? All right, moving right along. There's a bunch of committee meetings, so just wanted to take note of those so people remind Dave that he has a committee meeting coming up. No, kidding. Yeah, I'm kidding.
Already in my phone.
There is a first reading, so if you have any, you can send that to anyone on the policy committee or to Jay if you have any changes or updates to that. Wendy, do you have anything you wanted to add about that?
Let's see, it's for the first reading for the vehicle policy. And if you read your packet, you saw that the facilities also, what was it, transportation also was talking about the annual drug tests we paid for by RSU 38. And so now that you'll see it in the policy as well. So it took several committees to put this all together. So thank you, everybody. But I think it's pretty clear and easy to understand. And I think these vehicles will be an awesome addition to transportation and getting kids to places they need to be.
Great. Thanks for that update, Wendy. All right, if there's nothing else under those items, we will move along to the action. Oh, sorry, sorry. Christine.
Well, you didn't miss much. I didn't have my hand up for very long. I just wanted to point out, in gratitude again for Karen Smith and all of the principals and everybody who works on the literacy program here at Maranicook. It is science-based and it's evidence-based, and I know that that is making a difference in students' lives. I noticed that you're screening The Right to Read on the March Professional Development Day. That's a really powerful film, and I am so glad that you're going to be screening that. I would encourage everyone who hasn't had a chance to see that to take a look at it, maybe talk to Karen if you have any questions about that. But it just, the essence of what we do in schools is instruction, and learning to read is a right, and you guys are doing such a fantastic job. I just wanted to point that out again. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thanks for bringing that up, Christine. That's good stuff. Anything else? All right, now we're going to move along to action, discussion, and informational items. Approval of the minutes of January 8th, 2025 school board meeting.
I move we approve the minutes of January 8th, 2025 school board meeting.
Second.
Haven't been moved and seconded. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Abstention?
I abstain and listen.
Yeah, one abstention. Unanimous, one abstention. All right, approval of minutes of January 2020,
I move to accept the minutes of January 2025, January 22nd, 2025 as read.
Second.
Haven't been moved in second, discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all those in favor? I think that's unanimous. Yep, unanimous. All right. Acceptance of donations.
I move to accept donations as read.
Second.
Haven't been moved in second, any discussion? I just saw there was a nice one for the ski hut. It was very generous. So, great to see that project keep moving forward, so. Seeing no more further discussion, all those in favor? Unanimous. Acceptance of teacher resignation due to retirement, Mount Vernon Elementary, Carolyn Watkins.
I move to accept the resignation of Carolyn Watkins as read.
Second.
Haven't been moved and seconded, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, well, I did want to say that's a commendable career, 40 years. I didn't know her, but I don't know her, but it's awesome. That's great. So, it's a long time to be teaching, so.
It is.
I didn't, all right, all those in favor? Unanimous. Oh yeah, acceptance of bids for 2 compartment walk-in freezers.
I move to accept the bid from C. Capera Food Service Equipment in the amount of $96,374 for the purchase of 2 two-door walk-in freezers recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
All right, haven't been moved in second, discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Unanimous. Policy, second reading, GCGA, substitute teachers and educational specialists.
I move to adopt policy as read.
Second.
Haven't been moved in second, in discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Unanimous. All right, consideration of out-of-state travel. Wayne Elementary School 5th grade class trip to Boston, Massachusetts, 5/23/25.
I move to approve consideration of out-of-state travel for the 5th grade in Wayne grade class trip to Boston, Massachusetts.
Second.
Haven't been moved in second, in discussion? All right, all those in favor? Unanimous? Have a fun trip. Have a good time in Boston. It's always a good time. Okay, now we have H, formation of a policy for student clubs, I think is what I had there. Kristen, you're the one that asked for this.
So since we do not have one, I would like to make a motion to pause the approval of any clubs until the policy committee can create a policy governing the creation of student clubs and the board approves it.
I'll second. Get conversation going.
Okay, haven't been moved and seconded. Discussion? I can see Christine's hand up. Yep, go ahead. I think I saw
I'm
it.
just wondering why we need one now when we haven't had one.
So it just came to my attention that we didn't have one. I went looking for one and could not find it, and I thought that was something important to have.
Can we keep, like, ask questions, or do you want us to?
Yeah, if you could,
Okay.
Tyler had a question next and we can come back.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just,
that's okay.
I don't I guess my issue with having, pausing it until we have a policy is that it prevents the students from being able to organize themselves. And frankly, even if we rejected a club because it violated the policy, it doesn't stop the students from doing the club outside of the purview of the board. So I just think it would put a barrier to students participating in activities more broadly and just make it so it's more difficult for them to form a club. So I would be against having a strict policy around it.
All right, Christine, go ahead.
So have administrators or has anyone noticed the formation of a club that is concerning for some reason? Or I'm just wondering again, like why do we need a policy if there's not a problem? And if there's a problem, what does that look like? Because that would help guide what the policy would look like.
So my thought if I can answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I went looking for a policy and didn't find them, I just thought it's a liability, because if we don't have guidance stating who can make, clubs, who can come into our schools, I just think it sets us up for, for failure. And it's just, it's prevention, so to prevent something from happening, I think it's just a safety net.
So there's
All
a.
right. Oh, yeah, you want to follow, you have a
It's just
follow-up?
one
Yep,
follow-
okay, yeah,
it's-
no,
it's
sorry.
Exactly related to that. So
Yeah, no,
we
go ahead.
must have policies about who can come into the schools though, because that is very concerning if we don't have policies about who can come into the schools. Do we have that? We must have that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
okay, thank you.
And
right.
just, if
Okay,
it's
yep,
okay,
Jay, go
Sean,
ahead.
I just want to let people know that when this kind of came up, we went looking, and MSMA does have a sample policy that I can bring to the policy committee for review and discussion. So I just wanted to let people know we're not starting from scratch, but this would be kind of the basis if we are to move that forward, so just so people know.
David, I think David was next. Yep. I got you. Wendy.
I think it's, my initial response is that it's fine to have something that gives some safety guidelines perhaps, but that in terms of liability, we also have to be very careful about being overly restrictive. You hear in the news different schools and other things getting in trouble because they set up guidelines that really they didn't need to and probably shouldn't have. So I have no problem with the policy committee looking at it, and especially one that's been recommended by MSMA. But I definitely would want to see it not be more than just generally guidelines.
Wendy?
I would like to say agree with Tyler and David. It will take us a while to get the policy up and going. I would hate to stop kids from forming groups in the meantime. That's the one thing I'm a little worried about, because it is a process, and has anything happened that you know of negatively to bring this up? No. So, I mean, I would like to change the motion, because at this point I would have to vote no, because I don't want to stop the kids from forming clubs, because it'll take us a while to get this put together. Thank you.
All right. I have Rebecca next.
Thanks, Sean. I agreed, and would be willing to second, my second to amend it so that it didn't pause the creation of clubs for kids. But I do think that someone should be aware, whether it's the administrator or Jay, or somebody should be aware that this is gonna happen at the school. If it's gonna be happening at the school, you should at least be aware.
I ask you a question about that. That what's gonna be happening with the school? Sorry, I just
That they're
didn't
gonna
follow.
be creating a new club.
Okay.
Just let someone know that they're gonna be doing it.
Yeah.
And then,
I see.
as this is getting up, but I agree, I don't think we should pause it.
So do we right now have no policy about club formation? I mean, I know we don't have a policy about club formation, but is there a standard practice, like we have to have an advisor, or
So,
what's
yeah,
the
so,
process or practice right now?
so the short answer is we really don't have a practice. And I'm kind of speaking in generality. So Rick, if you want to add something in, please feel free to do so. I don't have a problem with that. Because I know this is more a discussion for the middle school and high school. Typically at elementary schools, there's not clubs being developed. So Rick, I'll defer to you if you're okay talking about that.
I'm okay, yeah. We don't have anything formally written either. Typically, in my experience, what we've done is if a student comes forward with a proposal for a club, we would first locate an advisor or a supervisor. There's always an adult involved. There are no clubs that meet without an advisor. Hopefully, there's no times in the day other than the restrooms that our students are unsupervised. Right now, what we do is we use our leadership team. So a proposal will be made, an advisor will be located, and then it will come to our leadership team to discuss what the purview of that club is, how often they meet, and what they will be covering. And then the leadership team at the school will confirm the club or not. Our clubs right now, although it's not completely up to date because they do form during the years, are all listed in our student handbook for people to go look at. So, I mean, we just have a wide array of clubs. And so there is a process. It is not a district process. It's a building-based process right now.
Thank you, Mr. Searoyce. Annie, I think Annie was next.
So would there be a stricter scrutiny then for an outside group coming in that is, I don't want to say unsolicited, but doesn't start with the interest of the children if an outside group is coming in to start some sort of organization or group? Is that something that would go to leadership team or?
I don't have experience with that, so that's a hard one for me to answer. The closest thing to that we have here is the community cafe, where we do have members of our community that come in and enjoy muffins and coffee and interact with the kids with the supervision of a teacher.
Thanks. Brian?
Yeah, I just think if there's an existing policy document, we should take it back to the policy committee and have them bring a recommendation to the board after reviewing the document. But that seems like a good place to go, and it seems like it addresses everybody's concerns.
So right now where we stand is we have a motion and a second on the floor to form a policy and to pause all clubs.
Are you willing to amend your motion to take the pause out?
Yeah.
I'm willing to amend the second.
Okay.
So just to make the policy.
Do we have to
I think.
withdraw? Just withdraw?
Motion to table,
Yeah, we could just table it and then,
table it indefinitely until we have policy. I think that follows
check.
Robert's Rules of Order.
yeah. Well, someone want to make a,
Motion to table indefinitely.
Can I ask you a question before we vote on that motion?
Yeah, we have to vote on the
yeah, no, I just trying to, no, you can
So
go
my
ahead.
question
We're
is,
still,
what then are we voting, what are we?
Yes. So taking out to pause, but just to then,
Instruct the
policy
policy
committee
to form a policy.
yeah, so make a motion that the policy committee creates a policy governing the creation of student clubs and the board approves it.
So are we saying that they're going to create the policy or look at the policy?
I mean,
Created.
There is, we have.
we don't have a policy, so we need to
Right.
make one.
Right, but can't we let them decide if we need to make one?
I think we're trying to decide. I think we're trying to ask the policy committee to make one. Is that, I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
I think that's what the
That's
motion is.
that's what the
That's
motion
the
is.
motion.
That's what
Ask
you,
the policy committee to make a
To-
policy
yeah.
on clubs for kids, for students. So if we vote yes on that, sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine.
If we vote yes on that, then we're saying we need a policy. We are asking
Please
the
ask the
policy committee to.
Correct.
create
So a
a
yes
policy.
vote would be, we're asking the policy committee to create a
Create
policy.
something and
A
bring it
no
back.
vote and bring it back. A no vote is, you don't think it's necessary.
Right, and remember, when the policy committee brings a policy forward, you have to do the first read, the
Correct.
second read,
It's still
so
gonna follow
if-
the same
Right,
process.
exactly, so if you wanted to, for lack of a better way to say it, kill the policy, you could do it during that process where you say, we don't want the policy at this point.
Correct.
But right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Kristen, you're saying, I'm making a motion to ask the policy committee to specifically look at the creation of a policy around student clubs. Okay.
All right, David, go ahead.
I agree with Brian and the discussion. We've got a sample policy, we've got a committee that's very versed in working on these things, and I am sure they would work with the administration that already had a routine that sounded very solid. And would protect the school in a number of ways. So in that sense, sounds good.
Thanks, David. Leslie? You're next.
I'll hold till somebody else has their hand up. Mine's still cooking.
Okay. Was it Christine? Go ahead again.
So I'm wondering, and I don't know, I would like to know how many other school districts have such policies, and if that would require, if the creation of a policy would require, and I imagine it would, because any club that would violate a policy would be sort of retroactive, and that club would have to be disbanded. I just want to say, because I'm not on the policy committee, that I would want to give very broad deference to students and to not appear in any way to arbitrarily or to discriminate against any kind of group of students. And I know that's not the intention, I'm definitely not suggesting that. And I want to say that because the first page of our reports today and I'm not making this connection for Kristen, just to be very clear, but the creation of a gender and sexuality club, I just want to, like, it might seem as though we are wanting to prevent that group from being created, and I would hate for people to think that. So, did you have something?
There's an error in the report, that is not a new club, it's been here for years, it's
Okay.
in our current book, there's a
Okay.
description of it.
Thank you
It's
for
not
that.
new.
That's really important. Thank you. Thank you
Right.
for mentioning that. So then, yeah, I think we should take a look at the policy from the sample policy and have the policy committee look at that.
All right, thanks, Christine. Wendy?
Being on the policy committee, Jay, if we could have information from high school and the middle school principal
I
on how
would-
they currently do
Yes.
it, that would be fantastic.
We will invite them to that meeting.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Leslie's cooking.
If you could add to that, what Wendy is asking for, beyond the creation of a club, just sort of how we continue to stay plugged in and how we differentiate between clubs that the school is connected to supporting and sponsoring versus those that we might not be, and just sort of the context and the purpose of like what those clubs intend to like achieve and accomplish and focus on. Because I think some of the things that people have brought up tonight are things that just get me thinking that just, if the school is directly connected, that if it gets started, and I hear you say that there's a staff member that's also connected to each club and so on, that do we stay connected enough to make sure that just the scope of a club or a group stays intact to its like original like mission, its original intent, like it doesn't sort of stray off in a way that we lose sight of, that leaves us susceptible to question, something. I don't know, it's what some of the conversation made me think of, I think. Things can sometimes have good policies where they start, but sometimes they lose their sort of finishing power on like, how do we continue to support people? And in addition to that, sort of, is there still good consistency on how we support students across all these types of things? We want to have avenues for all students to participate in all these different ways. I want to make sure we're being consistent with the options that we provide for kids. Focus idea.
All right. Kristen?
So, my thought, when I thought, when I went looking to find this policy, was that it should, and this is just my opinion, these clubs should be student-driven. These should be students to have their own ideas. So I never, I want the students to be in the driver's seat, and I want our policy to make sure that that is what it states. And that's what I was hoping to find. And I do believe the policy that Jay brought does, lay that out. So, and what Principal Soror said is exactly what I would have thought our policy should say if we had one. The students bring, the idea to the administrator. Then they have, obviously have an advisor, and the students are there expressing their interest and thoughts and ideas, whatever those might be, not somebody else's coming in from, any other area or group. It needs to be about the students. So that's what went through my head, and what I was looking to find is the students to be in the driver's seat.
It sounds like we're having a lot of discussion that should be had at the policy committee. No, there's been a lot of that.
I was too, but I was afraid I would forget some of what
Yeah,
this made
yeah.
me think of now.
So it sounds
and
like
then-
it's kind of like
Yeah,
when they're
later.
debating if,
Sorry, I just wanted
But,
to.
no, I wasn't,
Explain
we could
myself.
be going around debating this policy with work that could be talked about in the policy for a long time. I mean,
But to
and
be
that-
fair, Sean, it also, if we don't sometimes qualify where we're coming from,
Yeah.
we could hard stop, and then things could swirl for a month till our next
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, no,
In our
I-
community, we
I-
don't want that to happen either, so.
No, I agree. So where we're at is, I'm gonna call for a vote. Are we gonna advance this or the creation of a policy to the policy committee? All those in favor? Okay, all opposed? We have one opposed. All right. That is it. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, adjourn.